Hello, gorgeous Librans, and welcome to October 2020 and the middle of Libra season. I am so intrigued by this month and by this season and by the conversations going on here during this month and during your solar returns. If you are a Libra sun, happy birthday to you. This month is really intimate. It's really personal, and yet at the same time, it's also this huge, there's a lot of things shifting, a lot of pieces shifting and puzzle pieces shifting on the collective level. And one of the first messages that came up for Libra as I was checking in with you guys and tapping into your energy was, this is a time, it being solar return time, it being a return to Libran energy, and a lot of energy is coming at you this month. Even once the sun has left Libra, there is actually a day on October 27th where Mercury retrogrades back into your sign and Venus moves forward into your sign. So at either end of Libra, we're getting Mercury and Venus coming right through you at the end of the month. There's a lot of energy coming at Librans this month, connecting with you and having you have a really intimate conversation with yourself. And it has to do with the you say you are, right? The mythologies we put around ourselves. Now, this is one of my favorite themes. It comes up a lot because it's a huge chunk of what we do in this life as our brain is going and coming up with the different identities of who we say we are. We're good at this task. We're good at this emotional quality. We're bad at this. We will never be able to learn this, or this is the way we do things. We all have those things. And this month, the way that the energy is working with you is a fantastic time to free yourself from some of those little character types, right? That you maybe have slowly put yourself into. And the way that I see this month working is it's like this illumination that keeps growing and growing and growing. And I think kind of every year when I tap into your guys' energy, there is this sense of you kind of growing into this flame, like a fire that is being fueled by oxygen, fueled by creativity, fueled by curiosity, and a growing warmth and understanding. I think this Libra season in particular is really interesting. Mars is retrograding right across the sky from you in your opposing sign of Aries. And this does have a lot to do with, in that essential you that is so deeply ingrained, or not even ingrained, it's that essential you that is beyond all the categories and the identity boxes and the profiles online. There's that deeper you that has a really clear, easy pathway to follow. And it's a lot simpler than a lot of the conversations we have in our mind about who we are and what we think we need to do and what we need to worry about. So I'm going to start shuffling. Let's talk about some of the big transits, and then we'll get to talking about your energy this month. So big themes coming up here for cardinal energies. We have Mars retrograde in Aries. We also have Saturn going direct in Capricorn just a couple of days before October starts. And then we have Pluto going direct in Capricorn on the 4th. So now the three major planets that are in Capricorn are direct, and Pluto's going to take a little while to get out of Capricorn, but Saturn and Jupiter are well on their way to leaving Capricorn. So that's a big shift. Like I said, Venus is first going to move through Virgo, your 12th house, your spiritual house, and then it's going to meet you. We also have Mercury retrograde beginning on the 13th in Scorpio. And then he's going to move right back to you guys. So Mercury's going to come in and join you. Venus is going to join you from the other side. This month is also interesting. The moon cycles. We have a full moon in Aries on the 1st, and we have a full moon in Taurus on the 31st. And in between that, we have the Libra new moon. So there's a lot going on. 8 of Swords, deep listening, deep listening. This is a month that's quite mystical. Mars is also going to be squaring a ton with those energies in Capricorn this month. And we have this Mercury retrograde. We have planets moving back into direct motion, 4 of Cups. And it can be very tempting. And I think right now, we want to be able to look at charts and graphs and projections and predictions and linear progress, right? It's a very, ooh, 2 cards wanted to come out right away. Strength and Page of Wands. Now this makes so much sense to me. This is exactly the process that was coming through in the notes and what I'm just about to talk about here with the experience of October as a whole. It's very tempting to look for the linear projected progress and to be like, oh good, I can look at this chart, I can look at this number, and I know that things are going in the right linear path that I think they need to be going in. This October though, I will tell you right now, that's not gonna be where you're gonna find calming or that deeper knowing or like the right next thing to do. And especially Librans, I think with a new moon in your sign, with Mercury retrograde in your sign, with Venus moving into your sign, these transits are speaking to that inner knowing that's very kind and soft. And yes, 8 of Swords, 4 of Cups. These cards often, when people see them, they see inaction, inability, disempowerment, right? For being forced to sit in discomfort, being forced to sit in maybe unpleasurable circumstances, or being forced to wait for the answers that you want. But I've noticed working with these tools for so long, these cards show up when there's something we really need to hear from inside. This energy shows up when there is really, really good information from deep down in the well of our soul, and that you that is so beyond, you know, this is who I am, this is how I dress, this is who I hang out with, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm bad at. There's that you way deep inside, right? The you that can observe the world, the you that can observe the self, the inner guidance, the knowing, spirit, angels, all of those energies, those voices, those guidance systems, right? Sometimes there's this process that happens where we think, I know what I'm going to do, I'm empowered, I'm moving forward, I'm making it happen. And then we get stopped, we get told to sit down, and we listen in, right? This has happened to me personally many, many times. And I'm sure many of you have also experienced this, but there's something important to hear here. There's something important to hear that's really good for you. It's very supportive of you, very warm, very welcoming, very much in alignment with who you are. And immediately, look what follows. Strength and Page of Wands. These are creative, fiery. They play very well with the Libran soul, right? This is about that playful side of yourself that can laugh and joke and create and play and explore and draw outside the lines a little bit, tap into an untamed version of yourself, right? The untamed aspects of yourself that aren't about the diplomacy or the expectations of how you're using your voice or how you relate in relationships or how you're supposed to be you in the world. These are very creative, playful, splashy energies, especially Page of Wands. Strength is also an interesting one because strength says, you know, that dignity and that self-respect, treating yourself with respect, treating like your essential self with respect, and then therefore treating your grounded mental self, your physical self, the apparent self with respect and with nurturing and with honor and with guidance. All of that's really important. And I do think there's a big breakthrough this month. There's a deep understanding of what it is that's next on the path. And the quiet voice is important. It's just always important. I would say that that's a message I would give to everybody all the time, every day. I give that message to myself, I'm pretty sure 10 times a day. That listening into something deeper, right, is what is opening up the next door. And I think it's so helpful to hear that time and again, because our kind of jaded, grounded self, the one that's trying to work through the muck of the collective right now and the overwhelm around various different things going on, politically and culturally right now, as we are leaning into some deeper truths, it can be like, oh gosh, you know, that whole thing of listening to the quiet voice, is that even really true? Has that ever really even done anything for me? You know, we can kind of shut ourselves down. I think it's always helpful when there's a message like this, is that it's okay. It's okay to rest into this voice. It's okay to rest into that deeper, quieter knowing that maybe gives you the tiniest step that is valuable. That is so valuable. And we're so often taught, we've been trained over and over again in this kind of treadmill world that we are in, this global technological treadmill that we have built into over the last few hundred years, that sitting with the quiet voice is less valuable, that it doesn't translate to value, that it doesn't translate to self-respect, that it doesn't translate to authenticity. But it really is deeply valuable, deeply quiet, and there really is this key, it's the key to unlocking whatever it is that you're needing to unlock right now. But this is also about authenticity, and not authenticity to the mythology of yourself, right? Like the person you think you need to be, the person you think you need to act like. This is about loyalty and self-respect for the self beneath that, the self that has something, maybe a shift in how they're doing their work, how they're sharing their voice, how you're connecting in relationships as well. That full moon in Aries and the Mars in Aries right now, Mars retrograde in Aries, is really also highlighting how you're relating in relationships. I remember I had a very, very close best friend when I was, 16, 17, 18, 19, who was a Libra, and we were just tight. He was just we got each other. We just had this like rapport, right? And it was always one of those friendships where like maybe, there was always something there between us, but we would always miss each other in getting together in a romantic fashion. We never even got close to kissing because, he ended up dating my friend for a while, and then I ended up dating another one of our friends, and our timing never worked out, but we always joked, that we would be friends forever, just sitting in our 90s on the porch, rocking back and forth, talking about books and ideas and getting annoyed at the youngsters, and I've thought about that. We're still friends now, and we've both grown into our lives in different places and all of that, but we never lost our connection, and how that not allowing us to get into the rhythm of who we thought we needed to be as far as being in a relationship really freed us to have a friendship that will stand the test of time. We can not talk for over a year or even 2 years and come back and connect and have such a great conversation and go to really deep places immediately. And he's one of those friends that I think taps into that essential self for me, the one that's so beyond all the this has been a 20-year friendship, all the different transformations we've gone through, and it's such a sweet, deep love that we share. I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I think I just wanted to connect with Libran energy a little bit and give you one of the ways that I've connected with that energy, besides the fact that it is my midheaven. So I'm riding the Libran energy in many ways. I have some affirmations to share with you, to take with you this month into this mysterious, and I think it can be sometimes a little bit topsy-turvy October. And I don't mean that just in like a practical sense, if you're concerned about things like distress with the environment and violence and all of that. That you may find that you're trying to find your footing with the meaning of it all with that, but this is also just about how you're perceiving linear time. October is going to be a little interesting that way with Mars and Mercury retrograde. I think it's good to check in with some affirmations. These are the ones I've written for you beautiful Librans today. I see my truest self shining from within. I allow this inner light to lead me forward and light up the path. I welcome healing, connection, and peace. Feelings that arise in this process help clarify the path. I think that's one final thing I want to say here, is that while I think it's so good to tap into our truest self, the self that can see the self in the ground, right? The observer, that deep self that knows. I think that's so good. And that deep self often doesn't tap into emotions quite the same way. that our kind of earthly conscious mind self does. And sometimes it can be an idealized position to be like, oh, I'm just detached from this, I can just observe it. But I also think this month, if feelings arise, you know, you're trying to clarify what you need, you're having to sit with maybe some discomfort around a truth that's coming through from you about where you need to shift or where you want to shift, or, you know, in recognizing what's not a label for you anymore, what does that mean? That feelings are going to arise, and those feelings are great to feel. Feelings are for feeling, as Glennon Doyle has written in her book Untamed. Feelings are for feeling, and it's good to let those waves of feeling come and watch and observe and let yourself feel them, and they help illuminate this path, this clarity, this breaking through, this opening up that I'm seeing for Libran energy this month. So I hope you enjoyed the affirmations and our little discussion here. It was a really simple message coming through. You know, this isn't about jumping through 100 hoops. It's about slowing down your heart rate, coming back to something true and essential in yourself, and hearing what that bright, luminous, like lantern coming out of your chest and your solar plexus is saying to you, because there's something really true and honest and big and important there for you. And if your path gets blocked, if you get told to sit quietly and when you're wanting to run towards something, listen into it, because there's a reason why you're being asked to sit still and watch and observe. Maybe it's because whatever that is that you're trying to grasp onto is really not going to play out that great for you. Maybe it's because you have to just listen into what you really want to be going for. It could be a many different reasons, and it may be the kind of thing where you don't really understand fully until November, December. So keep that in mind with October as well. It is a very mysterious time. It's a very powerful time of year. I think we can all agree on that. I hope you have a beautiful rest of Libra season. I love you so much. You of course can find me on Patreon when we're doing the deep work with Mars retrograde. We're going to be going into each of the squares Mars is doing, as well as the opposition to the Libra sun coming up this month. So if you're looking for support during this wild time, I am there for you. It's a really soothing set of tools that I create so you can sit and hang out with me. Really cozy community. I'd love to see you there. You can also find me on Instagram and on my website. I'll leave all of those links below. I'm sending you all so much love. Have a beautiful and blessed August, and I will see you in November.